So, welcome to one more episode of the Fake Poet Society. My name is Rodrigo, and today I will be interviewing the fake Alan Paton. Now, for those who didn't know, Alan Paton is one of the most famous South African writers. He became famous because of his book Cry the Beloved Country, and well, today we will have a short conversation with him. So, Alan, Mr. Patton, how are you? Hello. Yes, I am happy. I am happy to be here. Well, Mr. Patton, we only have 5 minutes, so let's go directly to the questions. My first question is, well, Cry, the Beloved Country, is a very interesting story about the racial uh, injustice that people in South Africa live, and well, the harsh conditions, the harsh actions in which they were pushed. But what exactly pushed you to write this book? Well, I was born in 1903 in a little town called Pietermaritzburg in South Africa. And I remember that I started writing poetry, short stories, since I was little. And for a reason, I wanted to be a teacher. So I became a teacher. And I work in two schools. And the two schools were mostly white. And I realized there was something unfair about this. And well, I'm a Christian, and my Christian values pushed me to try to help the the other people, the people of color. And I moved to a reformatory school where I got in contact with these people, and I realized all the unfair conditions that you were describing. I realized that there was something very wrong with our society, and there was something that needed to be changed. I wanted to help them. I wanted to prepare them for the time in which they would return to real life. And well, my experience there in the reformatory and the kind of stories that I heard is what finally drove me to write Cry the Beloved Country. Okay, so your book is inspired in your life experiences. And well, obviously, there are very profound ideas in this book, but was there an objective? Was there something in special that you wanted to achieve by writing this book? Well, yes. My book was published in 1948, and we have already seen the kind of horrible things that we're capable when we base our decisions on segregation, on discrimination, on all these deviated ideas. So I wanted people to read my book and realize that maybe there was something different, there was an alternative to racialism, discrimination, and well, segregation in particular. And I also wanted to show that all these things, all these attitudes, were in fact creating many problems in our society. So you wrote this book before the apartheid happened, was established there in South Africa. So you actually saw that something like this was going to happen, isn't it? Yes, actually, that is what I was afraid of. In fact, me and other people back then, we started the National Liberation Party of South Africa. And when we saw what the regime wanted to do, we started to propose some different alternatives to segregation. But yes, that is exactly what I was afraid of. Okay, so just last question. I was talking to some friends the other day, and they told me that your book, in a sense, um, was based on many of the stereotypes that we're trying to avoid nowadays. And maybe that makes your book less valuable from a rational perspective. Um, so what would you answer to this point? Well, that is a fair judgment in a sense. I understand that I may have based some of my characters in stereotypes, but also, well, I wrote the book all the way back in the 40s, and we have now many conversations that we didn't have then. I wrote and I fought for ideals that I think were right, and I still think are right. So the stereotypes are there, yes, but I think that the intention of the book and the fight that we fought is more important than those stereotypes. Well, Mr. Patton, it was a pleasure having you here. Unfortunately, the time is over, but again, it was just a pleasure having you here. Thank you very much for accepting this interview. And well, that's it. Okay, well, thank you for having me here. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. And well, if you want to know more about me, read my book.